Hi there, it's Jo Fitzgerald from Tiny Sponges. This is activity 2 in my Halloween sensory play. This kind of series of sensory play is more tuned for the smaller of your children, the tinier of your children, the younger. Because I think sometimes at Halloween they get really left out, and this is a great thing to do with them. Sensory play is just wonderful for your little ones. You know, it's giving them new experiences, all that sensory stuff, the smell, the touch, the taste. It's really important, you know, it's sending off all those signals in their brain, making little pathways, and that really helps their learning and development in the future. So, you know, what you're doing, it's not just playing, it's learning, and you're turning your child onto learning at a very young age, and that's really important. So this one I call Smelly Jelly. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make some jelly. I've chosen a cherry jelly for this one. Now this is something you can do with your kids. You know, you can get them cutting it up. You can get some little scissors for them and get them to cut it up with little scissors. Probably not your youngest ones, but the older ones can help you with this. And so all the jelly goes in. I've also just discovered this, you probably know about it, but glitter jelly, amazing. So actually I'm going to pour that in as well. So you know, your children can be helping you with this when they get a little bit older. That's all going to go in there. And then this is something that, I mean, you can choose yourself, but this is boiling water, and I really worry about children with boiling water. So I wouldn't say to you, take a chance with it. What I would do is maybe just take the bowl over and just do this bit myself. Because I have seen the results of what can happen with boiling water, and it's not pretty. So give that a stir. You need to do a lot of stirring with this. And again, I would be doing this myself. I've put a little bit more jelly in than I usually do. And the reason for that, it sounds really terrible, but you know, it's Halloween. And so I've put cherry jelly in, and I thought, do you know what? It doesn't really matter if it doesn't all dissolve, because they could be like clots. How exciting is that? And again, your tiny ones, you know, won't really understand that. The older ones might. But even if there are like lumps of jelly in there, it's just adding to that sensory experience, because what they're going to do at the end of this, when it all sets, is they're going to put their fingers in it. They're going to put their hands in it. You know, they're going to be smelling it. They're going to love it. And if there are different textures in there, then that's really great. So when this is cooled down a little bit, and you have lost all these like big lumps. As I said, I'm not really going to bother with them too much because I've got loads of jelly in there. I know it's going to set anyway. But the main thing is that, you know, you let it cool down a little bit. And then when it's cooled down, which will take a long while, I would then bring it back and get your kids to do this with it, because this is so exciting. So usually you would add cold water. I don't do that. I add ice, because you put the ice in and the kids are going to put the ice in. And again, that's a sensory thing. You hear the ice cracking. And then what's happening? The ice is getting smaller, isn't it? The ice is melting. What you're doing is you're bringing in more mass language. Amazing for their development. And you can explain to them why the ice is melting. It's melting because the ice is really cold, and you put it with hot. And hot makes it go into liquid water instead of being a solid water. Should we put some more ice in? Ready? Listen to the cracking. Wow. So there you go. They can give that a good stir. It's not going to be really hot now. And they can stir it until all the ice is melted. So what I like to do as well is when the ice is melted, you get whatever receptacle that you're going to put the jelly in. I've got a brain here. Gotta love a brain. This was really cheap again. I think it was £1 at Home Sense last year. So I actually got a couple of them. And, you know, that's great for me. But, you know, if you want to, just keep it in this bowl. Because at the end of the day, what you're going to do is you're just going to tip the jelly out anyway. So it doesn't really matter what it's in. You know, I would do that for the older kids because, you know, they think it's gross. They think it's absolutely disgusting and they love disgusting. So that's what I would do. But for the sake of today, we're going to leave it as it is. And then I'll show you what else I would do. So I've got some dried pasta here. This is kind of like, I don't know, really small, bendy macaroni. It was just the cheapest one there. And I like it because it's like squiggly and it does look a bit like, you know, squiggly brains. And, or you could call them, I don't know, for the older children, how wonderful would it be to say, oh, they're maggots. Again, it's that disgusting stuff, isn't it? So, you know, your children can be doing this, pouring on all the maggots or the squiggly brain or the worms. They could give it another stir. And what you're doing for your very tiny children is when they're putting their hands into the jelly later, when it's all set, they're going to get different textures. You know, they're going to get the jelly, they're going to get that pasta, which is going to be a bit harder. Of course, it will go softer because it's going to absorb some of the water. I'm going to put a little bit more in. There we go. I never know how much pasta to put in. I always end up with pasta for thousands of people. And then I would do this. So I've got some spiders here. I'm going to put some spiders in. Got some rats. I'm going to put some rats in as well. Now I've washed these. So if your children, if your little ones actually do end up, you know, putting stuff in their mouth, because they're going to, of course they are, it won't matter because, you know, they're all washed. If you're really fastidious, you know, you can put them in boiling water or whatever, but, you know, don't go overboard. So spiders in there, rats in there, and what I'll do now is I'll leave that to cool down, and then when it's set, I'll come back to you. Hi there, it's the next day. I hope you had a good sleep. Jelly's set. Actually, what I found was that the first lot of jelly that I did, it wouldn't set. And I don't know if that's because I mixed the glitter one up with the other jelly. So I had to do another lot. Doesn't matter. This one's worked perfectly. So this one is actually the jelly that with the glitter in. So I'm going to tip it out. There we go. Splodgy old brain all over the tray. And this one, let's just give it a poke. When you're tipping these out, it doesn't matter if the jelly doesn't keep its form, because as soon as you put it on the tray, your children are going to have their hands in it anyway. So it really doesn't matter. There we go. So I'm going to set this one out. There we go. And look at this. This is just what I wanted. So if you remember, we put the pasta in the bottom, and it does look really disgusting, doesn't it? I love it. So it looks really disgusting, and your kids are going to adore this. I'm going to like it as well. So they can smell all that aroma of the jelly. So it's really, really sensory, this, because they're getting the smells and then they're getting the textures as they put their fingers in. And again, those fine motor skills, really important. You know, this is going to generate a lot of language as well. icky, sticky, yuck. Ooh, squishy. And that's hard. Look, it's a little rat. Ooh, look, I can squeeze with my fingers, squeezy. Found some spiders. 1 spider, 2 spiders. And, you know, the kids are just going to absolutely adore this. And of course, it's going to get messy. But hey, you know, happy Halloween. So I hope you enjoy this. Really easy to do with your tinies, especially great for your younger tinies. Lots of sensory input there, lots of sensory experience. Turn them on to learning and you're doing it for them. Hooray! So again, if you like this, thumbs up. If you really like it, share it with a friend, and I look forward to seeing your comments. So happy Halloween, happy sensory play, and I'll see you next time.